Well, greetings, hello, or should I say, like Dan the Man Levitan, greetings and salutations. Afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time of day it is you're checking things out. Welcome, won't you please be welcome? It's Common Ground with John Theillon. It is I, John Theillon, your host, the coach of communication, the captain of collaboration and of common ground. You know, the common ground that we're all looking for and going after. Yeah, that common ground. I'm also, don't forget, I'm also the mayor of Reeltown. And if you're still not familiar with that little designation, that just means that I always want to keep things as right down the line as can be. I don't want any fluff. I don't want any sugarcoating. And if it happens, it's not intentional. It's just one of those things to where I want to keep real, as real can be. You see what I'm saying? Remember the late Howard Cosell. Howard Cosell had a saying about his words. I'm Howard Cosell, and I tell it like it is. Well, hello, that's what it's all about. People enjoyed him. People reviled him for his take, but he was famous. Don't need to be famous, but if I am, okay, whatever, we'll work that out. Some people, you know what, the real it doesn't go down real well. It's a tough pill for people to swallow sometimes. They can't, they won't, and they don't want to live in real town, or they don't want to be at all about the real town way, and that's fine. I get it. Real town and being real is not necessarily for everyone. It's okay. We're a discriminating bunch. We don't have anyone in the fold. Other people, I tell you, they crave it. They really do. So be a craver. You'll love it. Coming to you today from the East Brunswick, New Jersey Command Center, Hamilton Radio North, if you will, where US 1, the New Jersey Turnpike and New Jersey Route 18 converge, right, literally, boom, smack dab in the middle of New Jersey. So remember, remember that Hamilton Radio is an iHeart radio station. We're working on a year coming up with that. Great stuff. And Hamilton Radio is the flagship station for Common Ground with John Theillon and the Exceptional Radio Broadcast Network, the ERBN. So there you go. Now, pardon me, I have to say, for some of the absolute best in music, whether it's outstanding, independent, indie artists, indie groups, indie music, to all the greats that we know, that we've heard for years, or, oh yeah, I haven't heard that in a long time. The soundtrack of our lives, basically, from the early days of rock and roll until kind of recently, I have to say. It's Hamilton Media's Hamilton Radio. It really is. It's where all the cool kids listen, and even the people who just need that music fix, that's where they listen too. So also, I have to say, Hamilton Media, Hamilton Radio, it's ever growing. Okay, it's an excellent resource, a very great resource for audio projects, voice work projects, and even podcasts and shows. We're working diligently. Matter of fact, I was just talking with our fearless leader, Doc G, about a bunch of things, and there are initiatives afoot for podcast and show. So if you've got a podcast, or if you've ever wanted to do a little show, or maybe a not so little show, or somebody who has a show or podcast, I have to tell you, we're going to be in real good shape. I'm thinking more as it unfolds, but keep this in your mind. A lot of these podcast purveyors, these other stations, so to speak, they charge a lot of money per show to have you do a show. I've heard 175 to 200, 250 a show. We even spoke to one guy from Staten Island a few weeks back who said, yeah, there's another iHeart station that wants to charge me $500 a show. We won't do that. I'm thinking $50, possibly less, probably even definitely less to begin with as we get this initiative off the launch pad. So stick around, stay tuned for that, more as it unfolds. Always check hamiltonradio.net, pardon me, hamiltonradio.net, the website. But for voice work, audio projects, I have to tell you, this is something, audiobooks, for example, have become a real interesting thing, a big thing, a large thing, a king-size thing for folks who have written books. Any author pretty much, is into this. No matter what kind of book you might have written, or someone who has written, or of. If you and the readers like it as a regular book, chances are it could be pretty great. Again, outstanding as an audio book. Hamilton Radio, you know, I'm part of the deal here, I have to say. But Hamilton Radio can work with you to get it done quickly, affordably, and in a quality way. So we can help out with that, no matter how. Maybe you want to voice it yourself. You've got a great voice, a distinctive voice. This is good. We can help out. Plus, Hamilton Radio, I've got to tell you, a very solid source, an ideal resource for additional initiatives, including stuff like voice work for short and longer term video, longer form, I should say, video, corporate video, business related video, and voiceover work, stuff that needs a voice put to it, like descriptive video. We are Amalgamated Incorporated, purveyors of widgets, gizmos, and gadgets. Well, you have to have somebody voice that. It could be an HR video. A lot of that going on. You have to be, on the stick with that. Safety videos. You need audio for that. Very, very definitely. And don't forget the old standbys. They're still here and they're not going anywhere. Voiceover work for 15-second, 30-second, 60-second radio, TV, and video commercials too. Hamilton Radio, I have to tell you, along with all the stuff that we do on the station, top quality, top-notch voiceover work, and for audio, for your business, your group, your organization, what have you. Let me ask you, what audio projects might you have coming up? Think about that. And then let's hear about it. Let's see if we can't collaborate on them, work on them together. Email us the details, won't you? Shoot it to us here. Ready? admin@hamiltonradio.net. That's admin, short for administrator, admin@hamiltonradio, one word, at hamiltonradio.net. One more time for you guys in the back. That's admin@hamiltonradio.net. Guys are over there at the bar doing weird things. Just keep it quiet. Thank you. Tell you what, man, can't get good help these days. Listen, and speaking of listening, listen to Hamilton Radio. Do it. You'll love it all day, every day. Just go to hamiltonradio.net. Again, hamiltonradio.net. Log on, tune in, turn it on, let it play. Just let it play. Doesn't matter if you're home, if you're at work, maybe you can have a little music, or in your vehicle, whether you work from your car or you do a lot of traveling, or a little bit of both, personally, professionally. Just call it up on your device and plug it into your system in the car, in the truck, in the vehicle. I do it all the time. It's fantastic. It's truly some of the best music around, and entertainment as well. Again, hamiltonradio.net, hamiltonradio.net. And where that's concerned, bookmark that website. Make it a favorite, hamiltonradio.net. Again, more coming all the time, more features, more opportunities, more stuff to absorb as a listener, as a viewer, and to get happily involved with as, I don't know, a broadcaster. How about it? Good for you. You can act and react and interact and counteract with hamiltonradio.net, hamiltonradio.net. So, whoop, there it is, okay? Now, every week, as I say, I put together Common Ground with John Theillon. That's the show here. I put together the monologues, the talks, the op-ed pieces, the topics. I put stuff together for you based largely on things that I have seen, things that I've done, stuff I've experienced, people who I've known, who I've worked with, done stuff with, and so forth. Also, I'll get inspiration to kickstart whatever from others, others in business, people who you know maybe or know of, a lot of folks who you don't, I'll mention one or two maybe today. I don't know. We'll see. I'll get it from business people, folks in entertainment, again, people who you know, some maybe you don't, politics, religion. Ooh, there are the two words. So what? There are impactful people who say informational things in politics and religion, so why not utilize their knowledge? Okay, just stuff that I've encountered through nearly 6 decades on the planet. Today I want to talk about different, and different is good. Here already, I worked with and for a fellow some years back, Dan Farr is his name. He was the GM, part owner of some radio stations I worked with out in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And he would say, "Hey, different is good. This is good. So different is good. This is good." And with the different, that that also equates to not doing the exact same thing over and over in exactly the same ways. Okay, first of all, that's not different. It's just, repetitive. Now, repetition is not a bad thing. Repetition builds reputation. But if you're looking for something different, that's not the way to do it. And it's also could be the definition of insanity, ridiculousness, stupidity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different as an outcome, you see. So, at any rate, with that in mind, and in whatever way works for you, I really am always working on the premise that you're going to get it about what I'm saying, about the information I'm providing. And what I do here, just again to reiterate, is I provide information via my take, my experiences, my stance, my philosophies, my words. Again, this is not an I, me, my thing. It's just how it is. Okay, we all have our take, our experiences, our stances, our philosophies, and our words, our thoughts. Okay, that's the long and the short of it. I provide information. Use this information every week, every time. Use it how you will. Take what you can use, leave the rest. Simple as that. Okay, it's just that simple. And as always, it is about the message, the words, which I typically select my words for a reason. I tell this to people all the time, from family members to my son through the years, to folks with whom I've worked. Folks, I select my words probably 95 to 99% of the time, if not more. I select my words and how I use them for a reason. So pay attention to what I say and or how I say it, okay? The thoughts, again, the take, the philosophies. And with that, it's also about recognizing, if not putting into action, our collective and collaborative abilities that we all have. Why? Because that can and quite possibly should be reaching that common ground that we're all after, okay? So anyway, different is good. Different is good. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing the popular thing. There's not, okay? There's usually a reason why the popular thing is, in fact, popular. Cadillac, very popular. GMC, Buick, Chevrolet, General Motors, four brands that they lean on very heavily. Because why? Because they're very popular. For some reason, a few years ago, when they also had Oldsmobile, Pontiac, Saturn, and to a lesser degree, and it's coming back though, Hummer, they deemed them not as popular and or profitable. So Oldsmobile, Pontiac, Saturn, and Hummer went away. Hummer's coming back, but differently. There's the word, differently. Okay. Same thing. You hungry? Hey, there's McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Arby's, Hardee's, Carl's Jr. and stuff. Eating In-N-Out Burger, rather, stuff like that. They're fine. They're absolutely fine. They're popular. People love them, and for their own reasons. Do you remember Burger Chef? Burger Chef and Jeff. Yeah, gone. How about Wetson's if you live down on Long Island? Gone. Humphreys. There used to be a place up on Route 1 in the Menlo Park section of Edison. Route 1 and Parsonage Road, right here in Central Jersey. There was a Humphreys hamburger stand. They had nice little hamburgers. They were delicious. Nothing special, but they were good. The French fries, again, nothing super special, but they were good. The chocolate shakes, them I enjoyed. They've been going about 50 years now. I was just a little boy when they went away, and I was, neither was Dad. I was none too pleased. Hey, let's go to Humphreys. And all of a sudden, there was no more Humphreys to go to. Why? Because they weren't as popular. Okay? Even then, we like to gravitate toward the different, I and my family. But again, there's something to be said for that. It's okay to gravitate toward the different as well. It's also okay to recognize, this is popular. Chevrolet is very popular. I like a Chevrolet. I have owned Chevrolets. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, very popular. I eat and have eaten at each of those three. So, now, where the different can pertain to what our daily lives equate to. It's many and varied things, from the oh, that's cool to oh, that could be really impactful. Like cars, for example. I grew up as a little kid and a not so little kid during I saw the muscle car era for the most part. From about I was aware from probably about 1968, 69 on through. So, I'm aware and have been of cars like the Camaro, the Mustang, the Firebird, the Charger, the Roadrunner, okay, Chevrolet, Ford, Pontiac, Dodge, Plymouth, just big stuff, man. The big three and their muscle cars. Not a clinker in the carload right there, not one. But you know what I gravitated toward, and I still love them a lot. I would love to have one. Two, by the same company, again, no longer in business. American Motors. The muscle car I love is the Javelin or AMX, and the other car I really would love to have is a 74 through 78 AMC Matador Coupe. Different, different, and different's good. I'm a big different guy. How about this? Family or friends or colleagues, you know, I got taught kind of by extension when I was college age. I worked at an industrial park up again here in Edison, New Jersey, about I don't know, 7, 8, 9 miles away. Pardon me, just off of exit 10 of the New Jersey Turnpike, Raritan Center Industrial Park. And it was split into two companies, Summit Associates and Federal Business Centers. I worked for Federal Business Centers for 3 summers during my college days. I was on the maintenance crew, meaning, everything from shoveling and spreading mulch to prepping, taking up old sidewalks and prepping the area for new sidewalks with stone. Dominic, very Italian, used to say, "Okay, go on, Bob, I got to level them off with these of stone." So I learned how to level them off with these of stone. To grass cutting. Who knew that there was a way to really effectively cut grass? I didn't know. As an 18 or 19-year-old, the heck do I know? I quickly found out. So I applied that when I would come home here from work and then to wherever I have lived throughout the years. My lawn cut pattern. One week I'll cut it like this, diagonally, from bottom left to upper right. The next week I'll cut it again, diagonally from bottom right to upper left. And the next week I'll go horizontally. The next week I'll go vertically. So 4 weeks I'm cutting the same lawn 4 different ways. Why? Because just in case you miss something, the opposite cutting, so to speak, will get it. You'll get it. Plus, it looks good. It looks, what's the word? Different. It looks different. Okay, people would recognize it. Hey, your lawn looks pretty good. Oh, thanks, Mr. So and So. I appreciate it. Painting, same thing. Everybody, will have to paint the room white. My parents, oh my goodness, upstairs in this house, check that, there was nothing but antique white in the dining room, the living room, the inside foyer, the hallway in by the bedrooms. What was my bedroom? What was mother and dad's bedroom? 6 rooms, antique white. Oh my goodness. Guess what? Different color. It got painted about a year, 3, 4 months ago, a nice light gray. Granted, it's not a big sizzly color like a big bright red, but it's different. I like it. It's different. It's different than the rest of the rooms in the house, things you do for fun. What kind of things do you like to do for fun? Well, some folks rather we play cards. Nothing wrong with playing cards. It really isn't. I've enjoyed cards through the years myself. But you know what? One time I had a chance to go drive stock cars, like the NASCAR stock cars that you see on a Saturday or a Sunday on TV. Yeah, I had a chance to drive them. I also had a chance for fun, same thing. I had a chance to drive the open wheel cars, like you see the Indy cars. They look like little Tylenols with four wheels, or big Tylenols with four wheels. Um, I had a chance to do that for fun. What else did I do for fun? Well, I've played league softball. A lot of people play league softball. My son's going to get back into that. Maybe he's 20, almost 26 years old, and he's an athlete. He wants to get his athlete on again. You know what I mean? So he may be getting back into league softball. He played baseball all growing up. Even after high school, softball. Okay. A lot of people do softball. What did I do? I played semi-professional football. Actual helmet, shoulder pads, tackle, blocking, running, jumping, catching, hitting football. The kind of football that you see. Right now, the XFL is on. Okay, pretty soon it'll be the next season of the USFL. Before you know it, the National Football League will be back in gear again come summertime with training camps and preseason, and then September the season. That's what I did for fun. People looked at me like I was nuts. How did you find out about this? Well, when you want to do something different, you'll find out about it. How did you find out about driving stock cars in North Carolina? When you want to do something different, you'll find out about it and make it happen. Even at work, I started at a radio station, WILQ FM, WLYC AM, back in 1987. Okay, and the sales manager office looked out on one of the main streets in downtown Williamsport, 4th Street. So basically, the desk was juxtaposed so that when you sat at the desk, you looked straight out the window, straight out downstairs. We were up on the 2nd floor, out and down, if you looked out the window, up on it, to 4th Street, going by like so. Okay? And there were 2 doors, believe it or not. When you'd sit at the desk, there was a door to the left and a door to the right. The door to the left went toward where the studios were, where the AM, the FM studios were, where the production studios, where they cut and make and produce the commercials, where the program director's office was, and so forth. You could go that way, and down the end, and the other side was where the scheduling and the billing department was. That was the left side door as you sat at the desk looking out at the windows at the front of the building. Okay, the right side door went out to the sales area. Okay, and you could go out the front door from there or over to the general manager's office. Well, that was 1987. Okay, 9 years later, I came back for the 3rd time there. Now, once as a brand new seller, the 2nd time as a senior seller, and 3rd time as the general sales manager. First thing I did is I go into the office, which was Joe Dalto's and then Jim Cameron's, and then it was mine. Okay. Nobody had done anything different with that office for at least 9 years, and probably longer, from before I was even there the first time. I immediately moved everything around. I put my desk. And what I hated is they used those 2 doors to cut through. I'm sitting there on the phone or doing work, and people are just giving me the old, hey, sorry, just cutting through. I got sick of that in about 3 hours, I have to tell you. So I moved the desk to where rather than looking out the front, I moved it so I was looking at the right side door, straight on. I'm the general sales manager. So at that point, why would I not want to see what salespeople were coming in to see me? So I moved it. And my chair would have been right behind me, would have been where the left-hand door was, where the desk was juxtaposed differently. So as I'm sitting at the desk, I'm looking right out the window onto 4th Street versus looking ahead at it about 6-7 feet away. And all of a sudden, people would come by, and I would lock that door behind me. People would and you'd hear them, yeah, can I get through? Actually, I've moved my desk. You got to go around now. What do you mean you moved your desk? Well, come around, and I'll show you. I wasn't having it. Why? because something different needed to be done. Something different, and I did it. Okay. Um, Nothing wrong with playing league softball. Okay, but I played football. Nothing wrong with getting together and playing cards, but I drove race cars. Nothing wrong with cutting the lawn every every week the same way. I did it different and still would do it. Probably I'm going to do it differently because it's going to be lawn cutting season again, and my guy is MIA, so I'm going to do it. Save myself a few bucks every month, by the way. Different is good. Different is good. Okay. Now, at work, number three, because we've got, okay, first of all, again, things like cars, fun things like cars. Number two, family and friends and colleagues. Different is good. At work, at actual work, how I, here again, act, react, interact, counteract with others, or how you act, react, interact, and counteract with others. Here's the thing. Do no harm. Distinguish yourselves. Utilize your partners. Remember those three things from a few sessions back? Yeah. So that's what I would do. I'm going to use my 5 years at Global Industrial down outside of Trenton as an example. Okay. I would hear, because it was all phone interaction with people. I wasn't going to say, I went and saw one client in my 5 years there because there was another reason it made sense to. Long story short, and myself and a colleague went to Brooklyn to see a contractor, a construction company. That was it. That was the only on-site sales call I made in 5 years there. Everything was designed to be over the phone, and I knew that. I got that. I understood that implicitly. But you hear a room full of phone sellers talking about, you know, hi, this is Joe Bob from Global Industrial. Is Bob Farkle there? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'll have him look for an email. Okay, yeah, email. Okay, man, they hung up on me. Well, yeah, versus, you know, I would call someplace, ring, ring. Hello, Amalgamated Incorporated. This is Janice. Hey, Janice, how's your day? Oh, my day's pretty good. Who's this? Oh, I'm sorry. This is John from Global Industrial. How's it going? Again, it's going pretty well. I have to say, the sun's out. Well, you're located over in North Dakota, right? Yes, we are. We're not too far from Fargo. Wow, it must be nice there in the summer. Oh, it gets hot. No kidding. Hey, I'm just curious. I'm working on something for Jim Muckenfutch. Is he about? Oh, let me get him for you. And then Jim and I would have a discussion, and we talk about, hey Jim, hey listen, how's things, man? Did you get out last weekend and get the boat going? Why? Because I asked him about his life, and so forth and so forth. And all of a sudden, I'm getting Jim Muckenfutch's business from Amalgamated Incorporated outside of Fargo, North Dakota. I could bump into him and he knock me over or me knock him down, and we wouldn't know each other from Adam. But it's different. I would kibitz with these people. I would treat them not robotically. And okay, if that's what you do, you get right to business. And yes, this is Joe Bob from Global. I understand that you're a user of pallet racks, and we have a special on pallet racks due to an overrun from the manufacturer. Okay, some people respond to that, and some people, I have to say, didn't respond particularly well with my conversational isms, at least to begin with. Once I would get to know people and attempt to engage with them again, they'd loosen up. Okay. And if I got told once, I got told, I don't know, several dozen times, by my supervisor, because sometimes they'd listen in. They wouldn't tell you, but there was a little click on the line and it got a little echoey, so we all kind of knew. But they would listen in, and they would say, listen, I got to tell you, John, the way you interact with folks, it's different. I really enjoy listening to your calls. Well, thank you, Rick. I appreciate knowing that. I do. I do. Hopefully that's going to continue to translate into some healthy business being done. Again, different was and is good. Okay. How about dealing with the public? Oh, there's one. That can be a big, giant sore thumb. Boom, boom, boom. Well, but it doesn't have to be. It can be. Oh, trust me, it can be. Again, with the shopping carts, put the shopping cart into the cart corral, please. Thank you. It's typically about 20 feet away, maybe 30 if you park, further away. But you know what? You could use the exercise. I'm just saying is all. Put the shopping cart away, okay? And again, I've given people the skunk eye and the really, you're not going to put that in the cart corral as I'm walking by them, and I just leave it at that. 20 years ago, I'd have made it a big scene or a half a scene or some kind of a scene. Now I say my piece and that's it, okay? Or the other thing is, just talking to others out there amongst the public. My son, as he was growing up, we would go someplace to the store, fill in the store, fill in the place, fill in the retail, fill in the whatever. And there'd be somebody, looking at the same display, the same items, or in the same line as we were. And I'd notice something and I would, say, hey, excuse me, what do you think of that gizmo you've got there? Oh, I tell you what, man, it's really something. I blah, 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 and yada, yada, and we really enjoy it. Really? What do you enjoy most about it? Well, wow, that's really great to know because I was looking at doing one of those not too long from now, and that's a good information to have. And off they'd go, and my son would look at me and say, who was that? I said, what do you mean, who was that? Well, do you know that guy, Dad? I'd say, no, but you were talking to him as if you knew him for a while. I said, yeah, son, yeah, Jack, that's what, that's what's a good thing to do. Because did you see how nice he was? Yeah, he had kind of a weird look about him until you started talking to him. I said, because I started talking to him in a civil manner, not being some flaming fool like so many people like to be for whatever reason nowadays. Oh, and I said, there it is, son. I said, and even back then I said, it's different. People used to do that kind of thing all the time. I saw your grandmother and grandfather do it. I saw my grandmother and grandfather do it, my parents, and then, my grandparents. And I said, you just learn this thing by extension, by just hanging around and sure enough, he will do that every once in a while. He's much more the introvert most of the time than I am, but when you get him going, off he goes. He will do it, okay? Again, different is good. There was a commercial growing up. I forget the bank, but it was out of New York City. And of all people, there were two celebrities in it. It was Rod Serling, from the Twilight Zone. Picture a man in a bank who was constantly frustrated. And there was Rod Serling, and Paul Lynde was the frustrated customer, the snarky surly customer. And Paul Lynde was waiting in line, and he was just okay. And he gets up to the teller. And he's like, I need you to help me with this. Sure, sir. What can I do? Well, I need answers about my account because of this, because of that, and I need information about the other. Oh, can do, sir. It's da-da-da-da, and so, and whatnot, and so forth. And he turns around, he looks at the camera, he says, they're all being very nice to me, and I don't like it. Well, that was about 50 years ago, by the way. Again, in the early mid 70s when he did that commercial. It's become even more pronounced as time has gone by. So for folks like you and me, my son, to engage with people, it's different. It's sadly not the rule anymore. It's the exception. But again, different is good. Okay. Maybe you're a fan of something. What sports do you like? I like, of course, okay, here's my big three, in no particular order, but baseball, football, and auto racing. I just like them. Okay, clearly. All right. I don't know if all of you are old enough to remember, but back in 1976, the bicentennial year, pretty much all the major league clubs. I don't know if it was all of them, but almost all of them. I know the Mets had them, the Pirates had them, and they kept them for years. They didn't get rid of them, but all the major league clubs, at least for 1976, had the throwback caps, which were like pillbox caps with three stripes around them of the opposite color. So, for example, the Mets are like royal blue and orange. It was a royal blue cap with an orange bill and orange stripes, three of them going around the top, middle, and bottom of a round ball cap, just like they played, it's like they used like 100 and some years earlier. Throwback baseball caps with the logo up front and so forth. I like them. Why? Different. The NFL, a few years ago, um, they started doing these throwback uniforms. Okay. Um, my team is the New York Giants, red, white, and blue. Not a lot you can do there. Not a lot has been done there since they were since their inception in 1925. Red, white, and blue. Okay. Sometimes the gray with the pants are gray, but red, white, and blue slash gray. Down the street is Philadelphia. The Eagles are midnight green and some silver and some black and so forth. That's their go-to colors. They used to be a brighter green, but in their very early days of the NFL, they were called I believe, the Frankfurt Hornets from the Frankfurt section of Philadelphia. The Frankfurt Hornets, get a load of this. Their colors were like a powder blue and yellow, like a faded canary yellow. Whoa. And what they did for the throwback uniforms a few years ago, like on the helmets, like how Michigan, University of Michigan, is dark blue with the yellow with that little deal up, little crown up front with the stripes going back. They did that, but with the powder blue and the faded canary yellow, and then the jerseys were powder blue with the yellow numerals, and it was different. Trust me, I'm no Eagles fan, but I really like those uniforms. And people looked at me like, how could you like that? Because they're different. They're distinctive. They're different. I like them. Okay. NASCAR. NASCAR's embraced this a little bit through these last few years, too. You talk about the golden age of NASCAR through the 70s, where it was Richard Petty and David Pearson, Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison, the whole Alabama gang. That's when Dale Earnhardt was a young kid. Darrell Waltrip was a new up and comer back in the mid '70s, and they had all these cool paint schemes. With the sponsors, Coca-Cola, Miller High Life with a gold, like a almost like a Notre Dame helmet gold car. Gatorade, Darrell Waltrip with his Gatorade Chevrolet, it's white with the green and orange Gatorade, like they were. And that's all kind of gone away. They wrap the cars now, from week to week, and the sponsors can vary, but every now and again they'll trot out the old throwback looks to the 70s, and man, and people are like, oh, yeah, especially the younger people. And it's okay because you weren't around. If you're, say, under 40, you weren't around for that. Okay. Under 40, 45, you weren't. You didn't know it because you didn't live it. And a lot of the folks who are into NASCAR now, who are like the under 40, 45 crowd, like, what is that? I'm like, no, it's different. And remember, different is good. Different is good. So there's that. All kinds of things. What do you root for? Are there throwbacks? Check it out. Get yourself some, And of course, you knew I was going to go here, the political and societal aspect of life with the media at the fore where that's concerned. Have to be careful, have to be politically correct. Do you, though? Really? Versus, like yours truly, being real and just telling it like it is. Being careful and PC, that's that's just going to set people up to be let down, because folks are going to find that the being careful or politically correct is not always real. It's seldom real. Sometimes it's never real, depending upon the topic and the situation. And people are going to find out one day that they thought this was the thing. It was it, and that was that. And all of a sudden they find out, oh, it wasn't. Like this whole thing with the China virus. There have been contingent of people since the beginning. This was created in a lab over there. Created in a lab over there. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Reason. Scenario. Hypothesis. No, it wasn't. And it just has recently come out from the top down. Never mind the characters involved who were saying, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're now saying, yeah, it was. Okay, because no, it's not created in a lab. This China virus was the careful, politically correct thing to say. It was not the real tell it like it is thing to say. And now, 2.5, 3 years later, it's coming out. Boom. Oh, yeah, about that. It really was, did emanate, got created, got made, got put together. It did evolve. It was from a lab. Yeah. Back then, growing up, for me, again, I'm 58 years old, so I'm not real old, but I'm not super young anymore. Back then, the CBS Evening News was anchored by a gentleman by the name of Walter Cronkite. Those who were probably 50 and older will remember, quote unquote, Uncle Walter. He would sign off each and every newscast. He's the guy you see with the glasses talking about President Kennedy's been shot. Okay, where he takes his glasses off and he kind of looks down and he looks back at the camera about President Kennedy having been assassinated. That's Walter Cronkite. Walter Cronkite did the CBS Evening News until February 23rd, 1981. Okay, I was a junior in high school when he did his final broadcast. And his signature slogan, again, signed off at each and every broadcast he did, was with, and that's the way it is. Today, March 8th, 2023. I'm Walter Cronkite. Good night. But the whole thing was, and that's the way it 6 words. And that's the way it is. Okay? Good. That was the norm. That was not different back then, up until February 23rd, 1981. Okay? That was literally, as he said, the way it was done. That's it. Okay? When he talked about things from the assassination of President Kennedy to gasoline rationing in 1973 and 1979, everything from soup to nuts, from the 60s to the mid 70s, relative to the Vietnam War. When he talked about things, and actually when he read the news, reported about things like that, the Iran hostages back in 79 and 80, the weak economies through the years, that was bad in the early mid 70s. It was very bad again toward the late 70s during the Jimmy Carter years. Just is what it is. It was exactly what it was. When he would talk to us on television, he was reporting the information, just like I'm doing right now. Without saying it, Walter Cronkite basically did take what you want, leave the rest, because I'm going to give it to you the way it is. And he would say, again, and that's the way it is, period. As of the 23rd of February, 1981, that began to stop. Okay? Now, you get everything's fine, everything's good, it's okay. Where? Huh? or at the end of a story, At the end of a story, you'll get a zing, a lib zing, so to speak. At the end of a news story, there's a guy at Channel 7 Eyewitness News here in New York City, Bill Ritter. He's been there for a bunch of years. I guess he's okay at what he does. You know, he seems to be a decent sort. But you know what? At the end of a story, you know, I'm just going to pull something out of the blue clear sky. You know, it'll be something about housing the immigrants that have come to New York City from the border states. You know, there'll be a reporter on the streets. Louis Young will be out at the you know, such and such a hotel where they're now housing, you know, the illegal immigrants, for example. And Louis Young will talk about how, and this is what's happening here, and this is what's happening there, and we have people living here, and the neighbors are saying this, and the owners of the building are saying that. And you know, more to come as this story unfolds. I'm Louis Young, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Back to you, Bill. And Bill will say something to the effect of, thank you, Louis. Boy, if only we could just find a way to do great things for these people and not have to have them suffer. Whoa. Stop. First of all, I'm not disagreeing as a viewer, potentially, which I no longer am, of the Channel 7 WABC Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock. I am not disputing that what Bill Ritter is saying is maybe not correct or not correct to whatever degree. What I am disputing is, Bill, it is not your position to opine about a story which has just been put together, reported on, and wrapped up with a bow. You unwrapped it again and took another look in there and then tied it up again. You're the news anchor. You're the news anchor. Report it, read it, do not opine about it, because that's not necessarily the way it is. Okay? Walter Cronkite is probably not real happy about this if he were around today, or wouldn't be real happy about it, I have to say. You know, but everything's okay. Everything is fine. You know, everything's just, everything is okay. Really? Despite current, nothing is let me restate the statement. Not everything is always now or then is or has been okay. There's always been, since the beginning of time, stuff that's okay. Things are fine. And there's also things that are, things are not so good. Things need some help. Things need to be improved. We have a situation here, okay? Like crime in New York City, up again. Subway crime is down. I'll be darned, because they're now starting to, I don't know, nab the fare jumpers, you know, trying to get in the subways for free, where for a while it was, oh, we can't do that. That's not fair. What? Anyway, everything's okay, despite the current conditions, despite inflation being as high as it's been in 40 years, despite energy price. Well, they're coming down. They should be $1.65 a gallon. Well, they were $5.50 a gallon, and now they're only $3.25. That's still more than $1.65. So that's not okay. The U6 unemployment, that counts everybody, not just the people who are raising their hands saying, I'm unemployed. It counts for everybody, whether they're looking, actively looking, kind of looking, no longer looking, opted out and said, screw it. They're not reporting that. They're not discussing that. That's not okay. What about help abroad, financial and or otherwise? But not here. Those poor people out in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania with that train derailment and that toxic crap being, I don't know, lit on fire purposefully. Who was the Einstein thought of that, by the way? But I digress. That's not okay. But you know what? You'll get on the TV, you'll hear it on the radio, whether it's the media people or the people in charge of steering the governmental ship. Everything's okay. We're on it. That's a little subjective, I've got to tell you. Okay. Here's the thing. Where things like that are concerned, like I am attempting to do and or doing right here, I'm not acquiescing. I'm not kowtowing to the popular thought, because this popular thought, unlike purchasing and or driving a Chevrolet, okay, um, isn't good. Okay, so no, don't acquiesce. And that's the different way now. What was not different however many years ago is now different. Acquiescing is the way. Don't acquiesce. Don't give in. Don't kowtow. Not kowtown, kowtow. Don't cater. Okay, that different also is good. Okay, here's another one. Okay, and we're getting toward the coming around the clubhouse turn here, heading for home, kids. But just again, not allowing other people, other entities, others in general and specific, don't allow others to do you. Saying no to control is good, and sadly, it's different. Didn't used to be. Didn't used to be. Being your own person. I got told. I've got admonished, educated, advised, recommended, suggested, cajoled by my family to be your own person growing up. And I'm an impressionist. I'm an imitator. So when I would imitate friends, family, celebrities, neighbors, I got told, well, that sounds like so and so. And I would say to my mother, for example, I'm like, yeah, it is. I just impersonated him. You need to be your own person. I'm like, no, you don't understand. No, you don't understand. And they didn't get it, that I was just working out my brain. That's what I do. I impersonate people. Well, let me tell you, it's Rodney Dangerfield. He gets no respect. Okay. When I did something like that, it was perfectly fine. When I would impersonate my friend from 3 doors up, it was, oh, don't be like him. I'm impersonating, okay? But I was always told to be your own person. Now, don't let others be you. Don't let others do you. Say to being controlled. Back then, we all got told from the time we started getting it to do the right thing. And we were told what that truly means, and to go with your gut instinct, with the knowledge of what is right and wrong. If I had a nickel for every time I heard my parents and or their peers say, well, you know what's right from wrong, when talking about whomever of us, the children, specifically, generally, well, they know what's right from wrong. Yes, they should know what's right from wrong. True, because we did get that drilled into us. Now, we get told from the alleged so-called experts about what you need to do. Again, that's when you lose me. When I get told you need to, oh, hell no. Okay. But as a result, we've gotten snarkier. We've gotten more sarcastic, much more sarcastic. We've gotten less aware of ourselves and our surroundings. We have gotten a lot, oh my God, a whole lot more unteam oriented. It's been a whole lot more of I, me, my. That's why I'm no longer involved with owning or coaching a semi-pro football team. These guys, they don't want to come. They don't want to come to practice. They don't want to come to games. I don't want to. Okay, you know what? There's no more team. How about that? What? Sorry. Screw you. You're not going to show up. I get 6 guys at a practice. No team. Goodbye. Okay? These people are less team oriented. Plus, now the young, and I mean real young, have picked up on all of this from the adults. I've got a good friend of mine who was a teacher in suburban out west of Detroit, Michigan. Okay, and their school had to send a letter home about 4th graders, mind you, 9 years old, 4th graders, and the swearing, the cussing, the language, and everything from physical actions to verbal reactions that goes along with it. They had to send a letter home to each and every one of those 4th grade students. And there's, I think, 2 or 3 classes. I don't know. There's several classes worth of 4th graders. Why? Because again, it's in a kind of a big area. Okay. 4th grade. I can remember Paul Cody saying something like, I don't know if this was it, but I don't know, they were hacking around across the classroom, when it was time to do a like a reading or a drawing project, and I don't know if he broke his pencil or somebody bumped into him, and he goes, "Ah, son of a bitch." Well, again, you're 9 years old. Granted, it was 1973 or 1974, but you're 9 years old. Well, he got sent down to the office very quickly for saying, "Ah, son of a," because somebody knocked into him. Now, he had older siblings, to where I'm sure he heard that. He was the youngest out of about three or four kids in his house. Okay, tell you what, son of a bitch is nothing. It's vanilla ice cream now compared to what these kids are doing. Okay. And where does it come from? The moms and dads and grandparents and aunties and uncles and so forth who think, this is okay, whatever. No, it's not okay. Don't let people control you. We've had damn near 3 years of that too, by the way, that largely really wasn't necessary. Wear your mask. And then it's found out, oh yeah, here's another one. Oh yeah, actually, it's not as the masks, yeah, not really helpful or not as helpful as we thought it was gonna be. I mean, if you want to go ahead, that's fine. And there's still people. I was at the grocery store 2 days ago, masked up. You got to be kidding me, okay? But whatever. The control. Don't let people do you. Do your own person. Do your own self. That, unfortunately, is different now. And that different is good. Don't give up also on your individual goals, dreams, objectives, and desires. Don't give up on what's been put in or what is in, as a matter of course, in your heart. Again, don't kowtow to the current agenda, to ulterior motives and hot button issues that are current right now. Okay, or to other, even in your family, I want to open my own business, and of course there's going to be a spouse, a sibling, an adult child, a parent, a neighbor, a co-worker, a colleague, or somebody's going to say, no, that's not a good idea, and here's the reasons why. No, if you've got something in your heart and you can and want to do it, don't give up on it. There's too many people giving up. That's become the norm. Not giving up is different. Here too, again, different is good, despite possibly being looked down upon due to not going along with the, I don't know what you want to call it, the collective in crowd. Okay. Here again, always trust your inner self. Always trust your instincts, your gut. It'll never let you down. Okay. And as always, to wrap it up, as always, as we do this, continuing, take two. As we do this, I just got my tongue tangled up. Did you see that? As we do this, continually and relentlessly pursuing perfection, as we're doing the things that we like, whether it's rooting for a team, liking a uniform scheme, starting our own business, telling it the way it is, not being controlled, driving a Chevrolet, or going for and finding a 1975 AMC Matador coupe. They're out there, by the way. Okay, whatever it is you do, do it knowing that different is good, guys. Different is good. Small G, non-sexist, by the way, guys. Do it knowing that different is good. Different is good. Okay. Now, shooting people versus giving them a bad look, that's not a good different. Don't do that. Okay. Again, we know right from wrong. Do the right thing. And different is good. Know that. Learn it. Live it. Okay. As we continually go about this, looking to go toward perfection, knowing perfection doesn't exist, what we're going to do is set ourselves up for excellence. That's the constant drumbeat here, folks, along the way, being positive, upbeat, can do, of good cheer. That's the ticket, folks. That's the ticket, people. It's exactly right. It's the good and right thing to do. It's highly worthwhile, whether it's work or whether it's leisure or a combination of the both. It's very worthwhile to be that way. And it is key to the ongoing effort to attain that common ground that we're always, always, always wanting to achieve. Trust me here. Take it to the bank. Do not doubt me. Don't. As always, by these things I stand. You should too. It's true. I wouldn't steer you wrong, folks. Hey, listen, on many things, I am not somebody who's out to steer you wrong. I'm not. Okay. Again, all of this, as always, take what you can use, leave the rest. That's all of it, folks. That's it. Once again, give the rest of the week your best shot. Upbeat, positive, can-do, up good cheer. Have a fantastic upcoming weekend. Daylight savings time begins when you go to bed on Saturday night. This coming Saturday is the 11th of March. Set your clock ahead an hour. I know you'll lose an hour of sleep, whoop-de-doo. But you know what? That means that spring is right around the corner. Spring is, from that point, 10 days away. Can't wait. So have a great weekend. I'm going to slide on out of here, as I do for now. So I want to thank you for your time this time. Until next time, God bless you too. Seriously, may God shine down upon you and do great things and have you do wonderful stuff with wonderful people. This, as always, has been Common Ground with me, John Theillon. Thanks for watching and listening. It's a combination of watching and listening. Thanks for watching and listening. So long.